The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Jabron.
From the FBI, the School of Law, from Staten Island, New York, Covington, everywhere, the Pavarotti of hard shots, the party of Python got it going on.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
Hello, everybody. It's a Sunday night, and I am recording this for a Monday Realm Network broadcast and a Tuesday Podcast One broadcast. This is Getting Color. This is the show where we discuss the taboos of professional wrestling. By that, I mean we discuss topics that a lot of shows don't get into, and I'll tell you why. Because we can get into them, because as you know, I've been there and done that. And my co-host has been there and done that for all three major companies, ECW, WCW, WWE, and TNA. So I guess you could say it's a grand slam. I'm talking about the great Vito Grasso. Vito, how you doing tonight, bro?
How are you doing, Vince? The Pavarotti of hard shots to the body. The star from Rent-A-Car is right here for Getting Color with Vince Russo tonight on Podcast One. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. We've been getting a lot of good feedback. People have been enjoying the show. Vince, why don't you lead us off with something good?
Okay, yeah, Vito, tonight's topic, there are a few things I want to talk about, but I want to really, I want to peel the onion tonight, and we're going to get into it in a second, and I think people are going to want to hear this. I've never heard this discussed on any other podcast. I'm going to be honest with you. And I want to talk about how discipline is handled in the ranks of professional wrestling, because I have to tell you something, bro. From a guy that was in management and I saw the way discipline was handled in wrestling, I got to tell you something, bro. I thought it was very archaic. I thought it was very immature. I thought it was done in such a way that it hurt the company itself. I would never, ever see this kind of conduct or behavior in any other place or business where some type of disciplinary measures had to be taken against an employee. And I could say that because I worked for CBS and some big companies. I want to get into all of that. There's a lot of things that I want to get into. But before we do any of that, let me tell you about my sponsor. Pro Wrestling Loot is the monthly pro wrestling mystery box that comes to you monthly, filled with wrestling merchandise. This mystery box comes packed with autographed photos, action figures, t-shirts, and exclusive collectibles you won't find anywhere else. And if you sign up at ProWrestlingLoot.com now for just $19.99 monthly with no long-term commitments, you could go month by month. You don't have to buy in. This isn't a jelly of the month. This isn't a fruit of the month. You could get the box whenever you want. But if you sign up now and it's your first time subscribing to ProWrestlingLoot.com, you will save 10% off your first purchase by using the promo code Russo. That's RUSSO. So that first box will only cost you $17.99. If you want the hottest wrestling items spanning through all eras of wrestling, from the Attitude Era, the early days of WrestleMania, all the eras, the Bruno Sammartino era. If you love the legends and the Hall of Famers and even the indie scene, then Pro Wrestling Loot is the mystery box for you. So head on over now to ProWrestlingLoot.com and remember, save 10% off your first box by using the promo code Russo, RUSSO. Again, that's ProWrestlingLoot.com. And you can follow them on Twitter at Wrestling Loot. All right, Vito, before we get into the wrestling aspect and before we start getting some color here, I want to talk to you a little bit about last night's fight. Because, Vito, I'm going to tell you something, bro. I didn't watch the fight. Vito, listen, I'm as cheap can be. I'm very frugal, especially these days when, the money isn't like it was when we were, making it back in our heyday. So, like everybody else, I got a budget. I don't have $100 to budget for a fight. I will never do that in my wildest imagination. I don't care who's fighting, bro. But the bottom line is I followed the fight on ESPN. And I listened to everybody going into the fight. Bro, I listened to, friends, people with knowledge that had a background in this type of thing. And of course, ESPN had all their analysts, former boxers, cornermen. Chael Sonnen was there. They were all there, bro. Here's the thing I'm having a hard problem with last night's fight. Everything I heard going into the fight was literally the way the fight went down. It went down like everybody predicted the fight would go down, with the exception of maybe it went a little longer than people thought. But from everybody I was talking to, from Disco to Chael Sonnen to Kevin Rooney, to everybody, they all literally spelt out, this is how this fight is going to go down. And it went down that exact same way. And now I'm getting the feedback. People were satisfied with the fight. It was worth $100. Nobody has any complaints. But I'm sitting here saying, wait a minute. The fight went almost according to plan, almost like it was a work, bro. I'm just going to say it. It went almost according to plan. What everybody thought was going to happen happened. Then why is everybody happy with the fight?
I'm going to give you my analytic conclusion of everything. Going into the fight, Conor McGregor had a puncher's chance. You're taking a guy who never was a boxer, you put him in something which he never did before. He had the stamina to last in an MMA fight. He didn't have the composure, like he said, to go and fight for 10 to 12 rounds. You conserve your energy. You put your good points. You take off for a couple rounds. It's just like pro wrestling. Like all the guys who are in great cardiovascular condition, why do they blow up? I'm going to tell you the secret. Nerves. When your nerves are shot, that's when your energy goes, and you get nervous and you get tired, you get scared, and you're done. I was always a guy who was a big cardiovascular guy in the ring because I never got nervous. I could last all night. I always knew how to keep my composure. Everybody is happy with the fight, which it should be a win-win for everybody, because Mayweather didn't run. He stood in front of McGregor. He let the guy blow his shots off. The judges who judged this fight, I want to know what they were watching for the first 3 rounds, because McGregor won all 3 fights, and they gave it 2-1 Mayweather. Mayweather didn't throw a punch. The 4th round is when he started to fire back. 5, 6, and 7, it went back and forth. That was an 86-85 fight up until the 10th round, because Mayweather only started to go when he knew that McGregor blew up and he didn't have no more endurance. That's what he meant by saying composure. If now, is it a shame that it went that far? Yes, it is. Do you know why? You took a guy with no boxing experience against the greatest boxer of our era, who was 49-0. You got to give McGregor all the kudos in the world, because he stayed there. He boxed the game against the master. That's just like when Lennox Lewis won the title from Mike Tyson. A washed-up Mike Tyson, and that fight went 10 rounds. Everybody thought Lennox Lewis was the greatest thing. Lennox Lewis was scared shit of Mike Tyson in round 1. He knew if he can outlast Tyson, he didn't have that same 20-year-old oomph. He didn't have that power. He didn't have that, that he didn't have his mind in the game. After the 6th round, that's when Lennox Lewis started to impress his will against him. But you mean to tell me Conor McGregor is a loser? No. Mayweather picked this fight. He had the right strategy. Let him blow his guns. Let him take the big shots. He's going to blow up in 4 rounds. Great strategy. Nobody should knock it. How could it be a work? I hate when guys say this is a work, this is a work. both those guys were in there to knock each other out and get
I'll tell you how. I'll tell you how, Vito. Here's how.
Yes.
Because here, bro, this is me as a novice. I didn't watch the fight, and I'll be honest with you. From everything I've heard, I don't feel like I missed anything, and I'll tell you why, bro. First of all, we have to go back to the Pacquiao fight where the fight was over after 1 round, bro. So, bro, you had a lot of freaking people thinking they were freaking ripped off. I'm never getting another pay-per-view. Screw them, bro. A lot of people felt that way. And now, bro, you got to understand, Mayweather's a businessman. He understands that, and he knows that. Everything I'm hearing about this fight, bro, here's what I'm taking away from it. Mayweather knows his last fight went 1 round, bro, and a lot of people got freaking ripped off and were unhappy. Okay, now, you cannot let that happen again. God forbid this fight would have went 1 freaking round and people would have paid $100 2 fights in a row now, bro. That really would have hurt boxing. It would have hurt the pay-per-view business. It would have hurt Mayweather's pocket. Now, bro, from what I understand and from what I reading everything, Mayweather was never in any kind of freaking trouble. There was never a punch that really jarred him or shook him. Bro, I kind of feel like here's where I think the work comes in. It sounds like Mayweather had the fight in hand and he was never in any trouble. And he kind of stretched it out and let it go and let it go and let it go to give people their money's worth, knowing damn well, bro, he could have pulled the plug at any time.
I said it all along. McGregor had to punch his chance if he caught him. Remember, your chin, people, I'm going to explain another thing to you. When you are a wrestler and you wrestle for 20 consecutive years, your body is programmed for the bumps, programmed, your head is programmed, your body, your jaw, everything. When you leave wrestling and you think you can come back and your body's going to be able to do the same things, it's not. It's not programmed no more. Mayweather took off for 2 years. His chin wasn't programmed to take shots anymore. His defensive skills weren't programmed. His reflexes weren't programmed. When you take that much of a lull off, things change. McGregor had to punch his chance in the first 3 rounds. That he did. Boxing-wise, everybody knew, yes, Mayweather was going to outbox McGregor, for sure. But you got to give McGregor credit. He went 10 rounds. Whether it was good boxing, bad boxing, he hung 10 rounds around with an undefeated champion in Floyd Mayweather, business or no business. He hung in there. Yes, was it inevitable he was going to get knocked out? Sure. But that little bit of power that McGregor had, if he would have pulled a rabbit out of his ass and knocked him down, who's the loser? Nobody. Everybody's happy. Everybody got their money's worth. I don't think it was a work. I think it was a good old-fashioned boxing match. Now, I'm going to give you one better, Vince, and you're pretty smart. If Conor McGregor had 20 fights under his belt, and you're talking he was 19-1 against Floyd Mayweather, who was 49-0, would the odds change for that fight?
If this wasn't his first fight in a boxing ring, absolutely. No doubt.
No doubt, right? Would you say he would? I say if he had boxing experience,
right,
he wins last night. No doubt about it. You can't fight 20-year-old oomph. You can't fight 20-year-old quickness. And if McGregor knew how to conserve his energy and prolong himself, just like I tell wrestlers, you could be blown up, you could be tired or anything, right? You have to have 30 seconds in the tank for the comeback. Bump feed, bump feed, bump feed, bump feed. That's your whole match right there. That's what makes the babyface over, and that's what gets the heel over. Those 30 seconds in the comeback. If McGregor knew how to conserve his energy, he would have beat Mayweather.
Should they have stopped the fight, in your opinion, bro?
Being that McGregor is a combat fighter, and McGregor would not have barked at getting knocked down and went down. Did he stop it early? I think the ref was trying to protect him a little bit too much because it was his first fight. Could he have went down and got up? Yes, he was on his way, but you got to give, for the thing of head injuries and risk. I mean, the UFC had to have a hand in it and say, listen, if the guy's in trouble, stop the fight because that's their meal ticket. Floyd Mayweather, if Mayweather was in trouble, I'm sure they would have stopped that fight and avoided him because he's a 40-year-old man. So there's protection on both sides. And that's the way I look at it. It was a good fight. Nobody should be angry. Nobody should be mad. If you were betting that fight to win money, you would have had to bet a whole lot just to make a little bit.
Yes, six people bet $1 million on Mayweather. 6 people.
And what did they win out of it, Vince? What did they win?
I'm not well, probably bro, 6 million. I'm sure they won a couple 100,000, but
I would say a couple 100,000. So you figure if they bet $1 million, they won 200,000. If you bet 100, you won $2.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Vito, I want to talk about something. This is why we call this Getting Color. Nobody talks about any of this stuff on any of these wrestling shows. It's all taboo. I don't understand. Listen, I don't understand why this stuff is taboo. Listen, Vito, I don't talk about this stuff like, oh my God, you and I are giving away trade secrets. No, bro. I talk about this stuff because it's very interesting to me. And also, Vito, I'll tell you this. 25 years in the wrestling business, there are certain things where I still walk away scratching my head saying, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. Why do they do things this way? So that's why I like to have the conversations. That's why I like to talk to the boys, bro, because you have a different perspective than I do based on, I guess you can call me management. You are a worker. Vito, a hot button lately, that we're seeing a lot about is discipline in professional wrestling. If you have a wrestler that, made a mistake, did something wrong, piss somebody off, the way the wrestling business, and we're really talking about WWE here. Let's just say WWE for argument's sake. Okay. The way they handle that situation and that individual. And case in point, bro, we've seen the last couple of weeks, obviously Enzo has some heat on him. Obviously now, Baron Corbin has some heat on him. And we kind of see the way the WWE is dealing with the heat. It's the way they've always dealt with it, bro, going back since I was there. We're going to punish the guy. It's almost like we're going to discipline him like he's a child. And my problem with that has always been, these are not children. People do F up. People do make mistakes. Sit the guy down. Talk to him. If you really want to hurt him in his pocketbook. Fine him, suspend him where it's going to cost him a little bit of money. But when you start punishing him on TV and he does the job and he's put up in a shark cage and this and that, I never understood that because now you're hurting your own product. You're hurting your own company. When it's now affecting creative, and you're changing plans you had somebody because they did something you didn't like or they said something you didn't like, that is now affecting the course of your business and company. I never understood it. I want to go back to something you said to start this conversation, Vito. You said something very interesting a couple of weeks ago. Your roots at ECW, okay, where you act, and this doesn't happen that often. But you were actually pulled aside and told, brother, man to man, face to face, you've got an attitude problem and we have to fix that. So, Vito, back me up. Bring me to that time in ECW. Tell me what the problem was. The way you carried yourself, your demeanor, whatever the problem was, because you even said when they confronted you, they were right. When they told you man to man, they were right, and you had to address that. But back me up, bro, about your behavior, your attitude. What do you think gave them the ammunition they needed to address you in that matter? And why did ECW now, Why did they decide to come to Vito LaGrasso man-to-man, face-to-face, and say there's a problem here, we need to fix it, rather than doing a job for, Mary Lou? So walk me through that whole situation.
I came out of Johnny Rogers School, and I started out in the WWF, guys. I trained like nobody trained. Vince can tell you how I trained. I earned my keep. I was too good for my own good. When I said I was going to go places, I went places. If I was talking smack, I could back it up. Why? Because I was tough. I was good in the ring. I knew the basics. I knew how to wrestle. I didn't wrestle against the guys who were my own level. I wrestled against the Bret Harts, the Bulldogs, and all the stars in wrestling. So I learned better than everybody else. As the years went on, I went to every different territory.
Hold on, let me interrupt you right there, Vito, because one word you're forgetting, and I think it's very important, and that's why I'm stopping you. Bro,
Okay.
having that kind of background, having that kind of a train of thought. Okay, bro, listen, there's a huge word that you're not dropping here, and that's confidence. You were very, very confident in your ability. And, bro, a lot of people aren't. And that's where politics come into professional wrestling, bro.
You're absolutely right.
But go ahead. But you were extremely confident. So there's nothing wrong with that.
I will tell you a story about me going to Iron Mike Sharp School. I was very confident, and I was cocky, and I could back it up. Iron Mike Sharp and I were on the road in WWF, and I asked Mike, can I come to your school and work out with your guys? Because I wanted to change the scenery from Johnny's. Okay, Vito, you can come anytime you want. So I went down there with a couple guys. I can't think of the guy's name right now, but he's one of the guys who helps out with WWF. And I walk into Iron Mike's Sharp School, and I said, give me your best 10 guys. There was over 20 guys there. Mike Bucci was there. Ace Darling was there. A few other guys were there. And they said, we are going to kick this motherfucker's ass. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I beat their best 10 guys, and I didn't break a sweat. And then as I went on, I gained notoriety. I became notorious for my toughness and how I can outlast anybody, out-wrestle anybody. I was too good for my own good, people, and that's the confidence I had. I knew I could whoop your ass. I knew I could out-wrestle you. I wasn't afraid of nobody. So when the time came...
Let me stop you there, though, Vito. Let me just interject there. Everything you just said, am I missing something? Is there a problem with that?
Well, if you want a job, there's the part that you have to do. You can be all these things, but you have to learn the business side, and you have to kiss a little ass on the way. And you have to have this humble pie. After I went to Japan, All Japan, I beat the best man in the world. I pinned the best man, Misawa, the greatest wrestler of my generation. I didn't know who he was. I didn't care. He laughed at me in the ring. I pounced on him. I pinned him. I hooked him. And that was history, right? I come back here, and life wasn't going good. I had already been to a tryout with Vince because he got me a tryout down at WWF. And they told me that, he had no talent. And I went down to WCW. And I said, no, thank you to a job. But when I got down there, and my boys were down there, Taz and Dreamer and Devon and Bubba Ray.
You're talking ECW now, right? ECW. Right. Yeah, okay.
ECW. They knew I could wrestle. The only thing is that I was a cocky bastard. I knew how good I was, and I could out-wrestle anybody on the card. And they knew talent, but they wanted to make me earn it. And they said, listen, you want to come here? We know you can wrestle. It's just your attitude. And we have our own locker room where we have our rules. We have to see how you fit in with the rules. And if I wanted to make it in the wrestling business, I was going to change. That changed my life because I learned how to be humble. I learned how to work with the guys. I learned how to work with a team because before it was just Vito. Now I'm working with these guys who I know. And little by little, I earned everybody's respect. Respect goes a long way. You have social media today. You have everything. Everything is overblown and advertised. It's out there for everybody. But when you had to hear about Vito LaGrasso eating humble pie, it was in a closed circuit with a closed-knit bunch of guys that knew I had to be taught a lesson, not physically, but just on an attitude level.
Okay, but
And these guys gave me a chance.
Vito, I'm going to interrupt you again, bro. Okay, I'm going to interrupt you again because you said something very poignant there, bro. You said something very poignant. And like you almost said it like it's expected and it's part of the job because it is. Okay, bro, you almost said, and you got to kiss a little ass. This okay, but this is what I want to discuss with you. Why? I'll give you the perfect example. Bro, I had writers under me. Okay, like at the WWE, you know, I had Ed Ferrara under me. I had a guy by the name of Bill Banks that was always under me. Later on in TNA, I had a guy by the name of Matt Conway who was always under me. All these guys were under me. Vito, I never at any time wanted these guys to kiss my ass. Never. I wanted them to make me better. I wanted them to challenge me. I never wanted these guys to, bro, I'm the kind of guy never in my life, bro, if I ran $1 billion corporation, I would never have a secretary get me my coffee. That's how I am. But wait, let me just finish for a second, Vito. That's where I am. So like, to me, the minute you tell me you got to kiss a little ass, well, what that equivalates is you got to stroke some ego. There's a lot of ego involved. But see, that's what I don't understand. Why does ego have to be stroked in the wrestling business? If you've got all the tools, you could be a primetime player, you could make the company freaking better. Why would you be expected to kiss anybody's ass?
Okay, I'm going to answer your question. Who was I trained by? Johnny Rods, one of the best shooters in the business. He didn't kiss nobody's ass. He was a legit wrestler who could whip anybody's ass, and he was the man. He was the hired gun. Who did I train under? Johnny Rods. I followed everything to a T. I became him. I wasn't a businessman. I wasn't somebody who's going to be the pal. I was a wrestler, and I was the man. Now, Vince, I'm going to answer your question about Vince. When you learn the wrestling business, you learn from Vince McMahon. He never kisses nobody's ass. But you learn how to concede to him. In his eyes, you kissed ass because you might have conceded some ideas. It happens. I'm not saying you did it on an everyday basis, but being a young, energetic guy who Vince took a liking to, who he took under his wing, he taught you. You will learn from the best, Vince. You learn how to do things. But there was a time when you had to concede your ideas to Vince's way of thinking, because it wasn't always the Vince Russo show. It had to be Vince and Vince.
But that's not kissing ass, bro. That's respect.
It is respect.
It's
yes.
two different things, V. It's two completely different things, bro. But, so I know there are guys that expect you to kiss their ass. That Vince did not expect that from me. But it was respect, bro. Two different things.
But people take kissing ass and, you know, and that as the same, as conceding. You know, like, okay, we talked about this on another show. I had all the talent in the world. I didn't know the business side of it. You, Kevin Sullivan, a bunch of other guys said, Vito, if you just kiss a little ass, you'd be fucking world champion. But that's not Vito LaGrasso. It's not his personality. We like Vito for the stand-up guy is. We like it. If I would have went, hey, brother, how you doing, man? Everything's great, man. That's me, and that's a phony, and I couldn't do it. I'd kill myself 3 times over. That's just not me. But for you to give me a job and say, Vito, I want you to go in there tonight. I want you to wrestle Kevin Nash on Nitro, the main event. I know you could do it. Go get him. That's all I wanted from people. Vito, you're wrestling Goldberg tonight. It's going to be not that great of a match offensively, but we know you're going to we know you're going to have a great match. Go get him. Vito, you're wrestling Terry Funk tonight. Vito, you're working with Flair. Vito, you're in a battle royal with Hogan and Macho and DDP. I want you to go in there and give your best. That's all I ever wanted. let me shine on my own. I didn't want you guys to kiss my ass. I just wanted I wanted the go signal so I could showcase my talents. And that's what people didn't understand about Vito LaGrasso. I just wanted you to give me the chance so I could showcase my talents because I knew inside I was that good. And that's confidence. That's my own charisma. That's my swag.
But Vito, I don't think in any other line of work, bro, I don't care what it is.
You're 100% right.
Yeah,
you're definitely right.
I still don't understand why kissing ass has to be. It literally is part of the job description in wrestling, and I don't understand it, bro. Bro, companies out there, no matter if they're Apple or Microsoft, whoever they are, they hire strong people that are going to make them better. I don't think it's a prerequisite. When we hire you, you got to kiss your boss's ass. It is that way in wrestling, bro. You do have to kiss ass in wrestling, and I never understood that. Why?
But nobody's understanding it because of what we're doing. We are on a podcast right now, and we have social media. We have Twitter. We have a podcast. We have interviews. We have all this stuff, right? When you took care of business in the back, people, 20 years ago, and they knew you needed a lesson. Where did you learn your lesson? You went in there with a guy like Johnny Raj. You went in there with a guy like Bob Holly. You went in there with the guys who were the police department of the heavies. They were the hitmen. And you got twisted into a pretzel. You got a little roughed up to smarten you up and a little smack on the ass. Okay, here's a warning. Smarten up. Play the game. Don't be so hard-headed. Today, you can't do that because it's a different time in wrestling. And the different time in wrestling doesn't allow you to do these things. Because if Steven Regal and Goldberg, and Regal said, I am not putting that guy over because he sucks. And what did Steven Regal do? He beat the crap out of friggin' Goldberg, made him look like crap, almost ruined his run because he was hard-headed. He was a great wrestler, and he wanted to prove a point. I'm Steven Regal. I'm better than this guy. This guy is crap. And it almost cost him his job. So what happened? He went from here all the way down, and that was the story. And he admits it later. I was stupid. And that's exactly what it is, guys. Right now, with all the stuff you see, Vince, and all the examples of the guys getting harassed on TV, and the knowledge we have today that was talked about because it was kayfabe, that's why we see it, and that's why it's addressed the way it is. We can't beat you up, really, because we have all these protocols, but we're going to embarrass and humiliate you because that's the way it is. Baron Corbin, Enzo, Kaz, whoever else, Bailey, for whatever reason. There's a whole list of people that you could throw in there that started out going great. They did something. Their push got derailed. There's a reason.
Vito, understood. Okay, but now look, I'm playing Booker now. Okay. Every time that happens, and I got to take a right turn or a left turn, and I got to get off of the game plan. Now, not only am I hurting that individual, I am affecting and hurting the product. Take for argument's sake, bro. Take for argument's sake the WWE due to their thin rosters because they're splitting the rosters for 2 shows. I'm not saying they have a thin roster. They have a thin roster because of them. They have a thin roster because they're splitting the roster in half. So, bro, say for argument's sake, okay, we need to put our resources in Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin needs to be a player on SmackDown. And we need to put all our resources in Baron Corbin. We need to move him in a hurry. Okay? No problem. All of a sudden, Baron Corbin does something on social media you don't like. Baron Corbin looks at somebody in the back crooked. Baron Corbin says something to Cena that, Cena didn't like. Whatever the case may be. Now, all of a sudden, bro, we take our plans for Baron Corbin and we change those plans to teach him a lesson. But at the same time, the company is taking a step or two back. You know the old saying, bro, you bite off your nose to spite your face, that type of thing. That, to me, that's so freaking asinine, Vito, because yeah, you may be teaching a guy a lesson. Okay, Corbin, you're going to cash in that case. You're going to look like an idiot. Then you're going to job out to Cena. We're going to set you straight. We're going to put you back in your place. Okay, that's all fine and well. But in the meantime, now you've changed the plans for the company. You've taken 3 steps backwards, and you've hurt yourself just as much as you've hurt Baron Corbin. I just don't think that's smart, bro.
It's not smart business, but as a writer on the other side of the table, like yourself, we have a champion, Jinder Mahal. He was an enhancement talent all the way through. All of a sudden, his body started to improve. All of a sudden, all the days he lost, he lost for 2 years straight. How do you go from losing 2 years straight to being a world champion? That's because they can heat you up in a second. You guys got the pen. You can make it happen. It's 2 shows. We're a monster. We're going to pay-per-view. You're going to wipe the streets with somebody. It's the bookers also, because the bookers' fault, because as fast as you can knock them down, that's as fast as you can build them up. And you know that you could be on a losing streak, and tomorrow you could be world champion. It's 50-50. It's the players and it's the office. And being that it's a 50-50 thing, the office is just as much to blame as the guys.
So, Vito, you're telling me if you were the man in charge, right, you would basically discipline the boys the exact way that the exact way it's done in wrestling.
You see now you're talking from a guy from your perspective who's not a wrestler and doesn't know the code. Now, if I was running a company and I was doing things, I would put the guy in certain positions in wrestling matches on the road that made life difficult for him to teach him a lesson. I would put him in there with a Steven Regal every single night. Steve, he needs a lesson. We need 20-minute Broadway. We want him to wrestle. We want him to throw up. We want you to make him look sick, and we want to teach him a lesson. That's the old school way you did it. You wrestled him to death, 20-minute Broadways, until he learned, and he cried uncle. And then that's when you say, I get it. Please get me away from this. And that's when you either know the guy learned a lesson or he's still stupid, because who wants to do 20-minute Broadways every night? Nobody. When you're wrestling with somebody who could twist you in a pretzel, I would do it. I'd say, okay, Baron Corbin, I want you to wrestle. Who can we put in there with him that would be twist him in a pretzel? All right, Nakamura. We'll take a Nakamura. Mr. Nakamura-san, we want strong style. Ah, you want strong style? Yes, I want strong style. 20-minute, very hard. Please. Arigato. He would understand those words. Baron Corbin would be like, what the hell's going on? He'd be fighting for his life. Now, Nakamura would get the message, needs a lesson.
Got you. Okay.
That's the way I would handle it.
Vito, you and I have never, ever discussed this before on a show, in private. We've never had this conversation. Okay. Now, when you went back to the WWE, and Vito, I'm just being totally honest with you, bro. I didn't see any of your run because I was writing TNA at that time. I just could not watch the product. I was just so busy working.
Right.
But Vito, the minute I heard, Big Vito is wrestling in a dress, I immediately knew and said to myself, Big Vito is wrestling in a dress because he is Vince Russo's friend. And because I know it. I know the system. I know Vince. I know why they do the things they do. Bruce Pritchard was still there, and I'm like, okay, great. Good. Ha to Vince Russo. You hired his buddy, but now you got his buddy wrestling in a dress. Okay, and it made me sick to my stomach because I know you, and I knew how good you are, and I know how the wrestling business, and that's what I thought. Am I totally off base there?
No, you're not off base. I heard the same things, but you know what, Vince?
Wait, hold on, Vito, hold on. I know you did, but let's not go there yet. Let's not go there yet. I want to know the story and the history. I want to know where you were and how well you were doing or not doing that led up to that character, and how they position that to you. So just give me a little bit of the background, because I never heard it before.
I came in on a night, August 2nd, when Nunzio was fighting for the Cruiserweight title, and I came in as his manager. And I helped Nunzio win the Cruiserweight title. So after that, we were Kings of Velocity. I was managing Nunzio, and I would practice every day in the ring, and like I was wrestling. So I would just, go and do my thing, and everybody would watch me. All the office would watch me, and I would just practice for hours. I'd be the last one to leave the ring, every TV, everything. And, guys said, well, why are you training like that? I said, I have to be ready. I'm going to have my time to wrestle. So then they started giving me matches on Velocity. They started to give me stuff. They gave me Matt Hardy. I had a great match with him. They flew me to England to wrestle Benoit. I had a great match with him. I started wrestling different guys. Then it was the ECW came, and they didn't know what they were going to do. They had tagging me and Nunzio and I became a very good tag team. One night we're fighting the Mexicools, and they didn't want to sell for us because they were getting a push with the lawnmowers and all this stuff, and they didn't want to sell for Nuns, and I got mad. So with Steve Kern and Ricky Steamboat sitting ringside, agenting. They saw it. I looked over at them. They just shook their head. I said, okay, give me a tag, Nuns. I beat the living hell out of the Mexicools. Right? So, and then they started selling for me. I did it again the next night. And they said, and Nuns goes, Vito, said, we're going to lose our job. I said, no, we're not. I said, they were sitting right there. They saw exactly what they were doing. I said, we ain't a couple of punks, and we are not taking this shit. So Nunzio and me, we get called to the back. So Steve Kern goes, Vito, you can't do that anymore. I said, why? You saw exactly what they did, and that's the way you're supposed to do it, the old school style. And Ricky Steamboat goes, Vito, it's not the old ways no more. You can't do that. So once they saw they did that, all of a sudden the Mexicools were kissing our asses because their push was going to get taken away to play ball and be nice with us. Legion of Doom, the new Legion of Doom, Heidenreich and Animal. Now, Animal, they're both my boys, right? Hawk and Animal were my friends since the old days. Until he died, Hawk died. I'm still friends with Joe Laurinaitis. Joe Laurinaitis came up to me. He said, Vito, Vince doesn't want us to sell because we're doing a Legion of Doom. We're doing this. I said, Joe, how can we have a match? I went up to Vince. Vince, you don't want us to sell for... He said, Vito, what are you talking about? He said, I want you to go in there and I want you to have a match. Okay, Vince. I told Nunzio. Nunzio goes, oh, yeah? Really? All right, watch what we're going to do to these guys. He got fired up. I said, all right. Heidenreich went right down. Nunzio's a shooter. I guess you could say I am a little bit. So we're getting heat on the Legion of Doom. We're taking it to them. People noticed we were becoming a good tag team because we weren't taking shit. So then once that happened, Stephanie and Vince came up to me and they said, Vito, we have an idea for you. They said, you're a very handsome man, and we'd like to know if you think you could wrestle in a dress. I said, I guess I could. And they said, well, how would you like to do a gimmick in a dress? And Jerry Briscoe was my backer. He was my main man behind me trying to get me a single spot in the rotation. So he said, Vito, you got to be able to take something. If they give you something, you got to take it and make it good. I said, all right. So when they came to me with the idea, I said, okay. I said, whatever you want me to do. I said, being me, I said, there isn't nothing nobody could do to me in my life, whether you're going to hold a gun to my head, come at me with a knife, if I'm going to get in a bar fight. One-on-one, I can handle myself. 5 against 1, I might get my ass handed to me, but one of you is coming with me. And I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be old school with this gimmick. I go to TV that next week. I walk in a dress. I went through the airports. Took a lot for me to do. I did it. People might have been snickering. They might have laughed. But you know what? I made that gimmick work. I took it as gold. Okay, give me an opportunity. That's all I want. I got the opportunity. You gave me the ball. Everybody thought I was going to grovel and, fold my cards. I became the most popular athlete in WWE that whole year. Anywhere I went, they knew who I was. I was on par with Michael Jordan. That was fine with me. But I did what anybody else would do. You run with something they give you. If you gave me this, I'd run with it. So when it backfired on them, supposedly, and hey, this is getting over. I was in Vince's office every night after TV, talking to Stephanie, doing everything. We're going to do this with you. We're going to do that. I said, that's great. I'm all one. Thank you very much, Vince. I hope you have a good night. And I was doing business because they were doing business with me. It didn't matter if I was wearing a dress. They gave me an opportunity, just like Paul Heyman gave me an opportunity, just like Vince Russo in WCW gave me an opportunity, just like my good run in TNA when you had me come in and you gave me an opportunity and I shined. Every time I was given the ball, I ran with it and I always represented myself because I had the confidence. If they thought it was a ha-ha, it was a ha-ha got reversed on them because I became great. And I became world famous for being the toughest man in a dress. I posed in Playgirl magazine the right way, not like some schlep, but dignified and with honor and prestige. I represented the WWE. And that's when the divas were doing the Playboy issues. Me and Ashley and I were Playgirl and Playboy Bunnies of the Year. So I mean, how famous could I have gotten on a ha-ha? No, the ha-ha was on everybody else because I was the most over guy on SmackDown.
Vito, let me ask you this, bro. That story you tell me is so similar to Terry Taylor. They did the same thing with Terry with the rooster gimmick. That's exactly what it was. And Terry had your attitude and did the same thing, exactly to the T. But Vito, let me ask you this from a psychological point of view. I understand what you're saying, bro. Okay, they're giving you this. This is going to be the big rib on Vito. Ha, 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 ha. I understand exactly what you said, bro. You were very smart. No, this ain't going to be a rib on me because I'm going to get it over and it's going to be a rib on you. However, Vito, how do you know, bro, if they're doing this as a rib and to get their laughs in the back and, we'll make them go through airports in the dress, this, and the other thing? How do you know, bro, like when you start getting it over and you're showing it's not affecting you and you're living the gimmick, how do you know in the back of your mind that's not going to piss them off even more?
In the back of my mind, I wasn't trying to piss anybody off. That's the whole thing. I was trying to do my job. They gave me a job to do, and I was taught, they give you a job, you do it to the best of your ability. It wasn't a rib. I didn't know it was a rib. I didn't know. People could say what they want. Unless I'm going to ask Vince and Stephanie, was this a rib? And they could tell me, then okay. But they gave me a job. They said, okay, we want you to do this. I said, okay. So if it was a rib, it wasn't a rib. The rib reverted back on everybody in that office. And if it was because I was Vince Russo's friend, hey, who got the last laugh? I did because I got the thing over. And I made myself more famous than Vince Russo from the Attitude Era. So kudos to me, kudos to you. But you talk about something like, how do you handle things? If you're a pro, it doesn't matter what they throw at you as long as you could turn it into gold. And just like when they give you a bunch of pieces of paper, Vince, and you're sitting there and they give you these characters, and unless you write it and then you see, okay, and then you put it on TV, they gave you these shitty guys. Like just for say the power plant was shitty guys or greenies, you made them superstars. So you made gold. They gave me a dress. I made gold with it. I made music. Kudos to you and I for having the New York moxie to take our talents to the next level and have our guts and our manhood and our respect for the business to do these things. A lot of people would fold their cards. Like, nah, I ain't doing it. Nah. They're lucky I didn't go in strip clubs and start dancing on poles with the chicks because that's what I was going to do.
Hey, Vito, let me ask you this, though. Isn't it like a little like, bro, I hear everything you're saying and I respect you. And I do agree with you. I do agree with you. But, bro, let me be the devil's advocate because, bro, you are a businessman. You know, just like every wrestler is an independent contractor, bro. So first and foremost, I have to protect my brand. Okay, let's take Baron Corbin, for instance, now. Baron Corbin is an independent contractor. His business is Baron Corbin. Now, the bottom line is, bro, Baron Corbin is not going to be working for the WWE forever. That's his, as an independent contractor, that's his employer right now. He's working for the WWE. That's my employer now, but I may be going to work for Japan. I may be going to work for Global Force. I may, you know, whatever, bro. I'm an independent contractor. So doesn't that affect your thinking, though, too, bro? Like, doesn't that add to it? It's almost like, okay, I'm working for the WWE now. I'm an independent contractor. They're paying me to paint their house. Okay, that's what they're paying me for. But when this contract expires, I have to move on someplace else. Did that ever play into your mind, bro, of how you might be perceived when you went to go work for the next company?
But you got to remember something. The brand, the company, the social media wasn't a play when I wrestled. It wasn't as big as it is today. Plus, there were very few places to go after WWE back there because TNA, I already been there. They had NWE overseas. I went to wrestle for them. XWF already went out of business. Where else? You can go to Japan, but at that time, they weren't bringing a lot of WWE guys because everybody was cutting money. The economy was down. A lot of guys were flying themselves to Japan. It was very tough to get a regular job in a company. So, like they say, the WWE is the only game in town. So that's where you have to stay as long as you can and do what you can to secure your job. There's not that much out there. And all the guys who are wrestling on the independents today, how much are you really making and how are you really supporting yourself? If you're a single guy living and schlepping and doing, okay, I can manage. If you're a family man and you're wrestling on the independents, how are you really living? If you're not making, okay, the Young Bucks are the exception to the rule. Okay, they're making hand over fist money. They're doing great. They don't need the WWE. There are a few other wrestlers out there who got contracts in Japan and some other places. They don't need the WWE. But for the rest of the economy and the rest of the other guys, it's not that easy. It's a different era and a different way of doing business today. The brand, the podcast, the social media, the YouTube, the little shows that you do, the endorsements. It's just not it wasn't available to me back then, just like it was to everybody else. It's a different era now, so you have to change with the times.
Vito, do you think you have an ego?
Do I have an ego?
Yeah.
At one time, I had a pretty big ego, but I brought it down a few notches. But I mean, when you have an ego because you're riding that high and you think you're the man and you are the man at the time, yes, but being that your lifestyle changes and you're not in the business, what's my ego now? I'm a family man. I'm a good husband. I take pride in taking care of my family now. So it's a different time in my life, and I don't have to be that big Vito character every single day and on top of my game. I could kick back, and people come up to me and they say, man, I loved you wrestling. You're a great wrestler. How come you don't wrestle no more? How come you don't do this? Can you sign this? I still get it every day. Whether I'm shopping, or I'm out eating dinner, what I'm doing, I'm very famous. But I keep it in me, and I don't let it get above me. If you look in my house, if I took you through a tour of my house, I have a lot of great memorabilia. I don't have one wrestling item up. All my wrestling is in a box. You know why? I lived it. I don't want to look at it. I love it. I take it out every now and then. I look at my championship belts. I look at all the great things I did. But it's not me no more. And it's not a bad thing, but it's just like Vince Russo, the Attitude Era. That's not you. And, times change. Do I miss that guy, Vito? Yeah. Was that guy Vito pretty scary when I watch him on TV? Yeah. I like this Vito better because I'm able to be myself. And that's why I'm doing these podcasts.
I hear you, bro. All right. Vito, before you leave, bro, because I'm going to let you run because I got to do some housekeeping. I don't want you to be around for that. But give everybody, bro, tell them whether you got Facebook going now, you got YouTube, you're doing personal appearances, you got the Twitter. Give me all that, bro.
All right, here we go. We got merchandise. It's on ProWrestlingTees.com/the Big Vito brand. We have T-shirts. Guys, go over, get the first one. I have more designs coming up. If you guys can, please go to my YouTube channel at the Big Vito brand. Once we get 100 subscribers, we already have over 1,000 views. I'm going to start giving out prizes, and I'm going to pick people out at random. On Twitter at the Big Vito brand. We could use the followers, especially the people who are listening to these podcasts on Getting Color and all Vince's other stuff. Hey guys, hit the follow button. I tweet every day. I'm on there. I do a lot of good things. I put a lot of good stuff on there. Facebook. I'm on the Facebook at the Big Vito brand, or you can go to Big Vito LaGrasso. Hit me up, send a friend request, join the brand. And now it's the brand. This is the social media brand. Celebrity videos. If you want a personalized video message of Vito, go to Celebrity Videos, hit up the Big Vito brand, press the click button, and you're going to get one. If people would like some autographed pictures, we can also arrange something. Personal appearances, guys. I will ref, I will manage, I will do autograph signings, I will do seminars. I work with your budget. I don't overcharge people. A flight, a hotel, and a fee. That's it. The other thing I'm doing that's great, I officiate weddings. And you can get in touch with me at bigvito@bigvito.com. That's bigvito@bigvito.com. And you know what, people? All of the feedback from you guys out there. And I greatly appreciate the compliments. A lot of people that dig the shows. And Vince and I really enjoy doing a show together. We have a lot of good conversation. And guys, this isn't pre-rehearsed. This isn't a script. This is, you want the truth or you want me to lie to you. This is the straight stuff. You're listening to all the right things. This is not a lie. We're not trying to get jobs. We're not trying to bash people. If everybody can make $1 million every day, hey, great. If you don't, hey, as long as you're making a living taking care of your family. Vince is making a living taking the family. I take care of my wife every day. That's what we do. You know what I mean? I like Vito today. I like who I am. I don't have to be on that edge every day. He was a scary guy. He had an ego. He did have an attitude. I learned how to change. You got to change with times. I like this guy. My friend Vince knows me on the inside. I've always been this guy. You just had to get a chance to know me.
Yeah, and we are getting a chance to know you, Vito, and this show has been great for me. And I know everybody on the brand really, really enjoys the show. Follow Vito, support Vito. Bro, thanks for joining me here tonight. I really appreciate it.
Vince, I know people have been asking, they say, hey, when are you going to attack the Schmarks? Hey, when are you going to be on Raw and SmackDown? Hey, listen, when Vince wants me to come on, he'll call me, he'll ask me. I know he can carry the ball himself. He knows if he gives me the ball, people, I could run with it, and I could run faster than Vince now. He's got old. So I'm good.
Bro, you're welcome anytime, bro. You know that.
All right, people. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. Vince, I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay?
All right. Love you too, bro. Big Vito, everybody. Getting color. And yeah, Vito's right, bro. If you want the truth, you're going to get it from us. Okay, I want to tell you a couple of things before I do. Let me tell you about the new Podcast One app. Find out everything about your favorite shows and get more content for Vince Russo, the brand. Find articles, social media episodes, and make playlists. It's easy to comment and connect with other show fans. We have our own little community out there. You could share your favorite content or see behind-the-scenes photos. You can get 360 videos or watch a bunch of shows in virtual reality. There's over 1,000 videos on there right now. It's like you're in your own little studio. There is no other podcast app like this. Download the all-new Podcast One app in the App Store or on Google Play. All right, everybody. I want to mention tomorrow's show, which it's Sunday night now. I'm going to record my next show on Tuesday morning because this show will air on Realm tomorrow. Tuesday is the next time I will record my next show. Tuesday is, I just want to say this. It's good. It's my mom's birthday, and I'm already thinking about that. You know, my mom passed away last October, and it's something I haven't really dealt with yet because when things like that happen in my life, I kind of try to just close the window, bro. You know, I try the best way I deal with things is to not deal with things. But it's her birthday on Tuesday when I'm going to be cutting my next show, and I'm sure I'm going to be thinking about her. But there are a lot of things on my mind this week about that's life. And I know a lot of my life experiences seem to be helping some of you out there. And I want to talk about some of the things this week on Tuesday. What I want to talk about and what I'm going to talk about on Tuesday, and I think it's a very important show for everybody, is leaving your comfort zone, bro. Getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of the place where you feel comfortable and you're doing the same thing and the same routine day in and day out because you're used to it and because you're comfortable in that role and because you're safe. And not spreading your wings could stop you from greatness. And that's what I want to talk about on Tuesday, amongst other things. I hope you join me. I thank everybody for supporting me. I thank everybody in the brand. I thank you all for listening on Podcast One. And I will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thanks for joining me, everybody.